In front of the Demon Lord's castle, Jean stands quietly, waiting for his all-female party to speak. What's wrong? If this is about the Demon Lord's strategy. Before he can finish, they suddenly call his name. Jean, in the name of the hero Riccielius, we hereby expel you from the party. His mind freezes and we shift to his past. Jean just left a small village with his childhood friend, Riccimer, who received the hero's blessing from the goddess to defeat the Demon Lord. On their journey, Saint Yuri joined them, followed by Ryushia the sage, forming their complete team. Together, they fought battles across the land and eventually arrived at the Demon Lord's castle for the final showdown. Back to the present, they ask, Jean, do you remember our promise? He wonders what promise they mean, then recalls it. The pact with the priest when they first set out, if he ever became a burden, he would leave the party. When the tension settles, he quietly accepts it, saying he always knew this day would come. We then learn about his early bloomer blessing. It gives rapid early growth but low long-term potential. Though he contributed greatly at first, the saint who channels the goddess, the hero who purifies demons, and the sage who wields ancient arts all surpassed him. No matter how hard he trained, the gap only widened. In tougher battles, he became more of a liability. Saint Yuri tells him they understand his feelings, and Ryushia adds that he is still their best companion. Jean thanks them and approaches Reki, patting her head gently. Don't worry, you'll defeat the Demon Lord. She replies that victory isn't what concerns her. Wait for me, she says. Once we finish this, I'll come get you. With that, Jean leaves, saying he should head back to pack his things. Behind him, the sage and the saint look downcast. Jean thinks to himself that Reki's promise will likely never happen. After defeating the Demon Lord, they will become heroes, and he doubts they'll ever be able to talk with him the same way again. He thinks to himself that he was truly happy traveling with everyone, and with a final smile, he thanks them. Deep down, he wished he could fight beside them until the very end. Hearing this, the three girls fall silent, then tell him he should get some rest, and they'll step out for fresh air. Meanwhile, in the hero Reki's room, she clutches her pillow tightly, declaring she must defeat the Demon Lord as soon as possible so she can go buy a wedding dress. Clearly, a completely different battle is unfolding among the heroines. Reki says she wants to arrange the whole wedding the way Jean would love, but first, she wants to walk around town with him again. It's not that she dislikes Yuri or Ryushia, but ever since the journey started, her moments alone with Jean have decreased because of them. She just wants the two of them together again. Jean has always been her hero, the one who stayed with her when she couldn't control her blessing. Even when others mocked her as a misfit, he never wavered in showing kindness. He used to say she would always be precious family to him, words that calmed her tears and brought a blush to her face. Precious family, yes, she repeats. So if she defeats the Demon Lord, will he marry her? Jean only laughs and says if Reki still likes him then, he'll gladly do it. It's a promise they shared since age 5, and to her, that promise has been her reason to fight all this time. Jean remembered that promise too. With their current strength, they could defeat the Demon Lord in a day. But if anything happened to him, it would be terrible, so she reluctantly left him behind for now. Thinking about all these embarrassing memories, she buries her face in the pillow, whispering goodnight to Jean and telling him she loves him. The scene shifts to someone else bathing. Why are you acting so cute? She says. You were thinking about him, right? I feel bad for Jean-san. But she admits that even without him, their combat strength won't change, and he might even become their weakness. This is Yuri, the priestess. She thinks she completely understands their childish hero. Reki wants to defeat the Demon Lord tomorrow and confess, but Yuri refuses to give up. No one knows the pain of a saint who has offered prayers since childhood. She remembers when Jean asked her to share stories about herself, telling her he didn't want to help the saint. He wanted to help Yuri. When she wondered if such a thing was allowed, Jean said he'd punch anyone who tried to forbid it. She had hidden her tears then, but they refused to stay hidden now. In the bath, she touches her skin gently, thinking how Jin's kindness melts even her frozen heart. Remembering him saying he wants to support Yuri, she realizes this is finally her chance. That lonely look when he left. Did he think he was rejected? She whispers softly, "Don't worry, Jin-san. I will use everything a saint has to heal you now. Virginity? What's that? I will just quit being a saint. Besides, that is another reason. This is for both of them as well. After defeating the demon lord, the party will be disbanded and it would be difficult for Jin-san to meet us due to our positions. However, if he has the position of the saint's husband, the country and the people cannot treat him poorly. It will also become easier for Rekishin and the others to meet him. Rekishin should be sleeping by now. Seriously, Ryushia is probably preparing for tomorrow. This is the perfect time for me to cross the line." As she arrived and opened the door of the main character's room, saying, "Jin-san, I am coming in," what she found was not what she thought. There was no one in the room. She was a bit surprised as well as confused, but then she saw a letter on the desk. "Jin-san, where are you?" As she read, she grew angrier and angrier, saying, "That old elf." And clenching her fist, "I in some different part of the world." We see a portal and the main character as well as Ryushia coming out of it. "Thank you for coming all this way to the village, Ryushia. Teleportation magic is child's play. So simple," the main character says. She replies, "You said before this is a secret art only sages can use." She says, "If it's for a friend, I don't mind." Besides, she was genuinely interested in Jin's hometown, asking if he would show her around. He told her of course. Thinking he was honestly grateful Ryushia brought him back here. He didn't know what kind of face he should show everyone, but there was no avoiding it. He said he was always indebted to her, and Ryushia replied that he was still saying such things. She only needed to return by tomorrow morning, and until then, deepening bonds with a companion wasn't a bad thing. Jin agreed, saying he was really happy. He admitted he'd been feeling a little down, and though he couldn't offer much hospitality, he asked her to come along with him. With a gentle elven smile, she said it was almost time. Ryushia Eldia, an elf over 2,800 human years old, thought about how her peers had already started families while she spent her life buried in research, never considering marriage. Before she realized it, she had stepped fully into spinsterhood. Returning home left her heartbroken, realizing no man wanted someone like her. She cried to her parents, but it was too late. Even with the sage's blessing, or perhaps because of it, she was avoided. In the end, she couldn't marry at all. So when the journey began, she chose to join the hero, seeing it as a chance to change everything. And Jin, whom she met there, was unlike any man she had ever known. Whenever she joked about her hopeless spinster life, he would reply that he thought Ryushia was considerate and wonderful, and that she'd make a great wife someday. She teased that if she was still hopeless by then, she would simply make Jin take responsibility. He answered that if someone like him was acceptable, he'd be happy to. With those words and that attitude, she fell for him instantly. He would always tell her how reliable she was and thank her for helping, and each kind word made her heart race more. When she asked what type of women he liked, he admitted he might actually prefer older women, and her heart soared even higher. She thought the time was near, that this strong yet gentle boy would soon be hers. Eventually, they arrived at Jin's house. Jin felt nervous stepping inside, but Ryushia gently placed her hand on his shoulder and told him he had saved people, so he could walk in proudly. Thanking her, he knocked on the door. A middle-aged man answered, asking who it was, and when he saw Jin, he froze. Jin said softly he was home, Dad. His father called out that Jin had finally returned, and his mother appeared, surprised, welcoming him back and asking who the lady was. Jin stepped forward, saying he would introduce her. He begins to introduce her, but Ryushia cuts in immediately, greeting them as father-in-law and mother-in-law, declaring herself as Jin's fiancée. Hearing that, everyone in the family froze in shock, blushing or panicking. Jin wondered if he was dreaming, while his mother asked if Ryushia really loved Jin that much, saying he was lucky to win over such a beauty. Ryushia added that she wanted to greet them properly today. Jin, still distressed, tried to stop her, saying they needed to talk about their future first. His parents were stunned hearing the word future, and before he could explain, Ryushia gently touched him and confessed she loved him. She was bright red as she said it, while Jean panicked, insisting she had never shown any sign of this before. But she held his hand and reminded him of the time she asked if he would take her if she couldn't marry anyone, and he had answered that he'd be happy to. He remembered that moment and knew he had indeed said it. He tried asking what would happen with the Demon Lord fight without the sage, but she replied she would head there right after spending one night with Jean. One night, he repeated, stunned. Ryushia insisted she was serious, saying she truly liked him and believed he was the only one for her. He thought she was a wonderful woman, and maybe suddenly becoming husband and wife wasn't the worst idea. She spoke his name gently, asking whether any woman like her, skilled, calm, beautiful, would ever marry him in the future. He respected her deeply, but he needed space, so he asked his parents and her to give them a moment and took Ryushia outside. Standing together by the wall, both shy and flustered, Jean asked if she really meant everything she said. She nodded seriously. He admitted she was precious to him, and though he couldn't confidently say he loved her yet, he wanted to see her as a woman from now on. Was someone like him truly okay? She wiped her tears and said Jean was the only one she wanted. As they leaned closer, about to kiss, something crashed down from above and sent Jean flying. It was none other than Reki and Yuri. They rushed to him, screaming, with Yuri crying that he shouldn't die on them. Jean thought to himself he knew exactly who caused this. Ryushia glared and told them to move, but Yuri insisted she should handle the healing. She claimed same-type magic cancels out anyway, while Reki argued Yuri only wanted praise. They bickered, calling each other names, while Ryushia tried to push them aside. Reki even leaned in to give him mouth-to-mouth, followed by Yuri saying she'd revive him with mouth-to-mouth instead. Jean thought he was blessed to be cared for so much, but his consciousness slipped away as the trio kept fighting over who would treat him. They screamed his name, shaking him, refusing to let him die, but he was already out cold. The next day, he finally woke up in his home, realizing he had somehow survived. He opened his eyes and thought, this really is my room. All the members came along. But as he was waking up, he thinks to himself, my body feels so heavy for some reason. He saw what was under the blanket, and it was none other than the pink saint, Yuri. He was totally surprised, thinking, why is Yuri here? He called her out, saying, wake up, Yuri, and thinks that's right. I must have fainted yesterday, when Ryushia confessed to me. Reki came flying out of nowhere and, well, whatever the reason is, but still, why is she in my bed? No matter what, this position is bad. As something squishes through his pants, he says abruptly, please, will you wake up? Yuri? She woke up and rose, saying, Jean-san, good morning. How are you feeling? Seeing her, no one can tell that this person is the saint. The main character says, I am fine now. Thank you for treating me. That's good to hear, she says. What are your plans today? He says, it's the day of the Demon Lord subjugation. I will pray for everyone's safety. While saying this, he suddenly remembered something and then says to her, why are you in a place like this? This is an important battle for peace. Are you going to do without the heroes' party? Well, that is because what happened was last night at the Demon Lord Castle. It looks like both of them were there. The Demon Lord says, so you are the generation's hero. I am the great Demon Lord who rules over all demons, Kaiser. The hero, Reki, declares, die now or die later. I'll give you the choice. Now come forth. If they plan to be troublesome, he'd face them with his full power. Her divine blade of judgment cut through the air toward him. In the end, it seemed the only thing that truly mattered was the power of love, or so she claimed. And with that, the subjugation began. The Demon Lord wondered which side was right in this war, humans or demons. She answered instantly that humans were correct and victorious. The Demon Lord was terrified and completely depressed. She added that the purification appeared to be working, and from now on, he should serve humanity. Even the bloody Demon Lord didn't understand what was happening, shouting, damn it! What's going on? Who's responsible for this? She simply replied, understood. As I've been defeated, I accept the victor's conditions. Those were the lines he should have said, but she spoke them for him as they walked away after defeating him. After the main character fainted, the decision was made. The sage, Ryashia, noted, "It ended in one hit, huh?" The hero replied, "Yeah, I could have handled it alone. I almost feel bad for the demon lord." But more pressing matters awaited. When he woke up, Jean was gone. Someone had taken him. Seeing this, she said they only needed to report to the king and their duty was complete. "About that, I'll leave the report to you," Ryashia said. "What? Hold on," Reki argued. "The hero has to be there. Besides, I barely made it in time for the subjugation." The hero didn't want to leave Jean with anyone but herself, muttering, "I don't know. Subjugating the demon lord is the hero's duty." The perverted elf Ryashia insisted, while the priestess Yuri added, "She's right. And since you know the king, you should come with us for support." Meanwhile, she would take care of Jean, proudly holding her enormous bazongas, prompting both the elf and hero to shout, "Stop talking with your chest." The hero grumbled, "This is why I hate women whose nutrition goes to only one place. Please stop with the baseless insults. Then stop emphasizing your chest." She snapped back. Someone still had to watch over Jean, and they decided it with the legendary game of rock, paper, scissors. That settled everything, or so it seemed. "But wait," Jean asked, "did you really defeat the demon lord?" She replied, "Have I ever lied to you? No. But still, that's how it is. The world is now at peace, Jean-san." "Oh, then I see. Our journey has really ended. There is no reason for me to stay with everyone anymore. Then, I should also return to being just a villager." He says, "Shouldn't the saint rejoin the hero's party? I don't feel any more pain, so you don't need to bother with someone like me." She replies, "Geez, don't say someone like me. If someone important to you speaks badly about themselves, it would make you sad, right?" She has a blush on her face but says, "No, but don't say that anymore." He says, "I understand. I won't put myself down ever again." And she made him promise. It's a promise now. She thought she was out of the heat, but then the main character asked, "Why are you in my bed?" She says, Please forgive me." Entering his room, he wonders, Mom and Dad, aren't they here? They usually prepare breakfast, yet all he finds is a note on the table. "We'll be out until evening. It's just leftovers, but we made something that should give you energy. Good luck." He's shocked, thinking, what are they even implying? I can't let the saints see this. But she suddenly appears behind him, asking, "Is that from your parents?" Panicking, he slices the note into tiny pieces with a wind blade and scatters them. She asks why he used magic, and he stammers, "Oh, no reason. It's nothing. More importantly, you should get changed." He adds that the clothes look good on her, and she blushes, saying she's happy, admitting the nude gown earlier was honestly too stimulating. He thinks silently while she says she was considering making breakfast, but he notices his mom already prepared something. With the weather so nice, he suggests eating on the terrace, and she agrees joyfully. As he takes a bite, he thinks, so delicious. It's been so long since I had Mom's cooking. He never tasted vegetables this fresh. The saint smiles warmly, listening to him, saying it feels like the first peaceful morning they've had in ages. During their journey, there was never time for moments like this. Peace truly is wonderful. She adds that her body feels lighter. He agrees, saying that not having to stay constantly alert is a blessing. Then she asks how he plans to spend his time now. He says it should be easy, tending fields, hunting, sometimes fishing, doing things he never could before. Then he asks her what she wants to do. Yuri hesitates, then softly admits she'd like to have children, blushing hard and apologizing for biting her tongue. She adds that chatting like this so leisurely would be wonderful, wouldn't it? He agrees, saying if possible, he'd want to spend time like this with her forever. She answers that they can spend forever together from now on. He's confused, not understanding what she means, but she continues, blushing brightly. She says she never forgot the moment he gave her that passionate proposal. "You said it when we first met, didn't you? That when I'm suffering, when I'm on the verge of praying, you'd be there to support me." For her, that vow felt like salvation when she was exhausted from living and terrified with every prayer. "It was the light that shone on me," She was blushing while the main character says, Yuri, that's... She says, you were right. I need to properly put my feelings into words too. As she says, I love you, Jin-san. I want to live my life with you. We have been together for 3 years. I have seen many of your expressions. I know you really well. I thought I did, but this is different. She asked, what are you thinking right now? I can kind of tell what you were thinking, but I also don't want to lose. As we see her squishing the main character on her chest, the main character thought it was his fault and says, I'm sorry. I will move out of the way right away. But then she pulled him into her arms, holding him tightly as she whispered, I'm sorry, Jean. No matter what you think, I'm not a good girl. I'll make you so obsessed that you won't be able to live a single moment without me. Jean felt Reki's weight pressing against him as she leaned in, murmuring, I'm really not as good a girl as you imagine, Jean. I'm going to melt you completely. She pushed closer, her body pinning him so firmly he had no room to escape. His face sank into her chest, overwhelmed by her warmth and closeness. Can you hear it? She asked softly. My heartbeat. It's so fast. She added, it's so loud I can't think straight anymore. Jin's mind spun. This sent my head stopping. He was seconds away from giving in, instincts slipping as his hand slowly moved higher. Reki's voice wavered, almost apologetic, as if speaking to Yuri in her heart. Let me go, please. The tension hung thick, the moment on the brink of something they couldn't undo. Then a voice called out, snapping everything apart. What are you two doing here? It was the hero, Reki, appearing at the perfect moment. Jean jolted out of the haze instantly. Both he and the saint scrambled to explain. And no, I just almost collapsed, she said weakly. Even the pervy saint added, yeah, right? Total coincidence. Reki raised an eyebrow, still doubtful. If nothing's going on, fine, she muttered. The girl flushed, glancing shyly at Jean. I've said what I wanted, so I'll leave the rest to you, Reki-chan. I'm going on a walk, Yuri said, turning away. Jean tried to stop her. Wait! But Reki pulled him back, her grip tight, her gaze a mix of seriousness and awkwardness. The scene shifted. Now they were lying together on a bed, sharing a quiet moment. Reki spoke softly. It's nostalgic, lying here with you. Feels like when we were kids. Her face was expressionless, the atmosphere strangely stiff. Jin's thoughts drifted toward Yuri and Luca. I should probably tell Reki too. But what will happen after? Before he could speak, Reki continued. I like Yuri because she's kind at her core. It's impossible to hate that girl. Jean nodded. Yeah. She cooks well, teaches me things, and her breasts are bigger than mine, Reki added bluntly. Yeah, Jean replied, then froze. Wait, that part's hard to agree with. Reki's eyes shone, filled with stubborn resolve. Even so, my feelings for you won't lose to anyone. Jin's face flushed, his heart thumping. What the hell is she thinking going up against Reki like that? Memories flooded back. Nights when we used to sleep together as kids. Reki would sneak into his bed, saying, Jean is so warm. Do you remember? He asked, patting her head. You used to cling to me at first, but by morning you'd kick me out of bed. Reki smirked. Those attacks don't work on me anymore. The hero's blessing is strong. Jean teased. I might not be able to match you anymore. Of course, she replied confidently. I can knock you down with my pinky finger. That was honestly shocking. Want to try arm wrestling again? Reki asked. Jean hesitated. I'll pass. I probably lose. Running away? Coward. She shot back, the insult hitting him like an arrow. Weakling. Fine. I'll do it, Jean snapped, stung by her words. Don't hold back with your pinky. Give me everything you've got. You'll get hurt, Jean warned. Are you sure? She teased. Then I'll just use my pinky. Their match began. Got it, Jean said, pouring all his strength in. But Reki's single finger didn't budge an inch. It was like trying to move a mountain. You're trying so hard. This is kind of cute, she teased. In the next moment, Jean was tossed across the room and landed on the bed with a thud. I lost that easily, he groaned. Reki sat beside him and patted his head. Battles aren't only about strength. Don't let one loss crush you. A loss is a loss, though, she added brightly. So your punishment is an interrogation. She climbed onto him, pinning his hands above the bed. Jean, why don't you sleep with me anymore? You used to on our journey. Flustered, Jean tried to answer, but Reki tightened her hold, her voice soft. It's fine. From today on, let's sleep together again. No, listen, Jean protested. A man and a woman in the same bed. I'm a man, you know. So you are conscious of me as a girl? Reki asked, eyes gleaming. Jean froze, thoughts tumbling. Think of Reki as a girl? No. She's always been like a little sister. But Reki's face lit up. I'm so happy, she said, leaning in. Before he realized, she pressed her lips to his. The moment was electric. Frustrating, thrilling, impossible to ignore. Reki smiled proudly. Finally, I've graduated from being your little sister. Now I can stand beside you, not behind you. I'll forgive you with just that kiss. For now. Jin's heart pounded. He couldn't deny it anymore. I do like her. She's always been trying so hard for me. But the real problem remained. 3 girls had confessed, and he hadn't given any of them an answer. Just then, Yuri and Lukia returned. Welcome back, they said. I'm back, Jean replied. The air turned awkward instantly. Why does it feel tense? Yuri asked. Don't tell me. You two crossed a line? Reki flushed bright red, completely flustered. The elf spoke up. Is that true? Reki, so innocent, yet acting like a proper young lady? Shut up, Reki snapped. More importantly, how did things go? Of course it went well, they answered proudly. It was us, after all. What matter? Jean asked, baffled. The pervy saint smirked. The wedding venue has been decided, you know. Jean smiled politely. I see, that's great. Then his expression stiffened. Wait, what do you mean? Whose wedding? All 3 answered together. Isn't it obvious? It's mine and yours. The realization slammed into Jean like a wave. Overwhelmed and cornered, he forced a fake smile.